Hello, this is Dogcesy, and today I'll be talking about the current standard banner featuring Saria and Carnelian. Alright, so yeah, I'll I'll try to finish it up relatively fast, I guess, since I have a literally have a paper tomorrow. And it's more of just me kind of taking like a break, I guess. I've been revising quite a lot. So yeah, next week is exam week. And so, yeah, thankfully I've already finished up Vigilo already, all seven stages. Um, the number six and seven I did take a few attempts, so I guess we want to look forward to that. And especially seven, I struggled a lot. Even though I already have a rough idea of like, what to expect, since some of my friends have told me about it, and I have seen some videos about there being five bosses. And yeah, so yeah, I already knew that I wanted to bring Calcite as my friend support because the true damage will be very useful against like the Gabriel boss, the machine. I think it's called the Big Ugly or something like that, as well as Patriot. So I already have a some of a rough idea like what I wanted to do. The only thing I needed to figure out was the pathing and stuff like that, the bosses. So yeah, so yeah, I guess look forward to that. Though I'm still not exactly sure when I'll be uploading this video even in the first place. Because I'm quite all over the place right now, trying to study while also trying to. Maybe I should. I don't know. Never mind. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about the current better. If you ask me, I guess I should just outright say whether you should pull for it or not. I'll say that all five units are actually very good. Actually very good. I found myself using them quite often, more often than not, except for maybe Croissant. I out of all and Akafuyu too. Akafuyu the ones I use the least. But maybe that's because don't really quite know how to use MET guard or too much. Technically, actually, I don't have a lot of experience with MET guards. The only one, yeah. So yeah, and I just start. I'll just start. I'll start with Saria first. Saria is actually, how do I say it? I really like to use her. I just found myself just it's either her or Gami because of the fact they're hidden defenders. They can do a lot of stuff. The only thing I found that pulls Saria back is the her deployment cost, I guess, at E2, which is 22, which is actually also my current deployment cost because I haven't gotten any pots on her yet. So yeah, the only thing that I found myself why I usually tend to gravitate towards Gami more is the lower deployment cost. Because a lot of the times I don't really use Minotaur because kind of want to be more brain dead. Because if you use Minotaur, you still need to worry about like blocking or killing the enemies first. If you just use a normal Pioneer Defender, they can kind of do both for like the early game. So yeah, kind of more to be more brain dead. But yeah, because of that, I tend to use Gami more than Saria. But if that wasn't the case, if I'll already be using mortar either way, because I already know I'll be needing mortar, like maybe the VI7, I know that I needed all the deployment search as possible. I will just use Saria. Even though I actually didn't even use Saria though, in my 7. Yeah, I didn't even use Saria actually. That's crap. Yeah, yeah, I'm not even using Saria because of the cost. It's the usual, yeah. Yeah, but that's pretty much the only thing I say that is pulling Saria back. Is actually the cost that Saria has. So yeah, I guess I'll talk about I always go better. So yeah, healing defense like I said. So the talents is that the first talent is that every 20 seconds after deployment she'll gain an attack and defense buff, which will stack up to 5 times. And it's actually increased with pots, but I don't know how feasible it is to get pots on her. Like I say, I pot 0 and I'm what they consider a dolphin. I guess is I do spend on dolphin. I do spend on monthly cards. Because you have my friend who does like spend a lot. I will guess I'm not exactly sure whether it's considered a whale. Since he does control his spending to a certain extent. Since he does play multiple games like Fate Go and stuff like that. So he does control the amount he spends on Arknights because he tries to spread it out among the other games that he plays. And he doesn't have much pots on Saria. He only have pot 2 I think. But then again he doesn't really like Saria's art. So he hasn't really actively put on Saria's banner as well, so maybe that's something as well, but not exactly sure how viable the pot 5 is though. But yeah. He will gain extra attack and defense buff. So yeah. Generally you won't get the max 5 layers, like the max 5 buffs. Because generally be putting your defenders last. What was that noise? You'll be generally be deploying your defenders last. And usually by then there isn't the 2 minutes there isn't 2 minutes left in the game usually in the first place. So yeah, I guess, but it's a very nice skill to have. It is somewhat of like a solo skills compared to like other defenders, but not other defenders. Let me try to okay good. Oh, okay, kind of. But you know the other defenders like Bigger and stuff, Bigger, Korra, they all gain like defense buff and stuff like that. So it does somewhat act like a solo defender skill, if you get what I mean. Even though it's not as smart as like compared to them. Because 4%, I'm actually not exactly sure how the 4% stacks. So is it like the second buff, is it like 4% of the 104%? Or is it the 4% of the base 100%? I'm actually not sure how exactly the defense buff works. So that is something I don't know. And I haven't bothered looking up. Since it hasn't really mattered too much, to be honest. But yeah, can someone add like a pseudo skill like the other defenders have, even though won't exactly stack up as much since the max is like 16%. We'll consider them to be based on the base 100%, which isn't a lot, but consider how high her defense is already at E2. I'll be leaving her at level 60 because that's how much I have. That is the level I have for it. And even at base 30, it's also considered high already, already above 500. So she will gain like 580ish, I think. I'm doing some 580ish because that's how much I remember her having. How much her defense was being at 32. Yeah, because at one point in time, I did have her at 32 before I brought her up to 60 with the others. I actually don't think my chowder is 60 yet. Yeah. But yeah, it's already decently enough. May not be as high as a defense buff, but it's a talent, not the skill. So what do you expect? But yeah, it's actually a very nice skill. I honestly could not think of a better skill for her to have. And then the attack buff is also very useful, not only allowing to maybe help her to hold her lane better by killing enemies before they can do too much damage. Because her attack is also considerably high, 400-ish at 60, and then also 400-ish at 30. But the thing is that the skills from her skills actually does scale with her attack. So you actually increasing the attack is, also allows her heal more. And the amount of healing that you can do is actually a lot. Can you guys even hear that actually? I think it's a drill. Yeah, what are you doing? That's but yeah. So yeah, I actually find it actually very strong. So yeah, talent is actually very useful. So yeah. So what was I doing? I honestly lost my train of thought already. That's fine. But I think I'm more or less covered one with the cover. So yeah. Skill is actually talent is actually a very good talent. I honestly cannot think of a better talent for her to have. Then for a second talent, well, whenever she heals an ally, she also gives them 1 SP, which sounds good on paper. Is that it honestly doesn't really apply itself very often in the first place, compared to like other SP battery skills like Buffering, Lixam, stuff like that. They generally don't really come up like often. It doesn't come out often because if you just look at the skills, the thing that pulls back the skill one is the fact that she only heals like allies that is less than 50% health. Because of that, she doesn't really heal them like often. The heal doesn't pop often. Unless maybe like I don't know, you're fighting against like a boss, stuff like that. But so yeah, because of that, skill 1 won't even heal often, but the amount of healing that it does is large. And then skill 2 has 8 seconds or 7 if you're like mastery 3, which is considered a very long downtime when you compare to like others like Rixam or Warframe. And the only one I could say is probably like skill 3, where it's heals per second. But it's only when it's up, and so when it's down, it has a very long cooldown of 80 seconds, unless you treat her and then deploy her back again, I guess. Which, yeah, she would be faster. But 10 seconds faster, but yeah, you get what I mean. Because of that, it's kind of there, I guess you can kind of say. Give it no. I don't know, but yeah. So it's a nice talent there, the second talent, but in most cases or not, it really won't come into play at all. So yeah, I guess I'll go over to skills. Where skill 1, she heals a nearby ally. She's in the 5 adjacent, 8 adjacent town, and include or maybe even herself, including herself, with less than 50% health for a lot of. Yeah, she is. Uh, the only thing I say pulls back this skill is the fact that she can heal allies with less than 50% health. But at the same time, it is also kind of good because it helps and ensures that you don't really waste like skills, especially since she can hold charges. So you only heal those that absolutely need it if you have multiple allies within range. But yeah, it's a very good skill. I guess I also mentioned all three of the skills are actually very useful. They guys have like different uses. So skill 1 is more for like you said, if you really need the big burst healing. Big burst healing. For example, maybe you're against a boss, you can say, or or the ally that you want Saria to heal has very low health defense, stuff like that. Very low defense I guess. I found like for Podenko, I found that Saria can actually heal Podenko back to full health at like from like 30% health, she can heal her immediately back to full health, which has been useful in most cases, not most, in certain cases whenever like fighting against casters, while using Podenko's like high arch resistance to actually tank the hits. So yeah, I guess if you want that, can heal her Podenko up to full health from 20%, around 20% each health. This is, skill 1, not skill 2, skill 1 is really more for like the burst single target healing. There's also relatively long downtime. So it's actually a very strong skill. Even though, see, if anything, I'm pretty sure it's the skill that most people tend to use. I'm pretty sure it is the skill that my friends does tend to default to. Both of them that play CN, both that play CN. It is the skill that both of them does default onto. So that is something, I guess. So yeah. Yes, I will mention about something about skill 1. The masteries, the case of like the mastery. There is kind of like, from what I've heard, there is like a debate. I'm not exactly sure how prevalent it is nowadays. It happened some time ago. There was a debate like whether you should defer at M1 or should you spend the materials to actually M3 her, which is actually a lot. 6 bipolar, 9 of fix. And so yeah, because of the fact that at rank 7, is it? It 2 charges at 5 SP, but at M1, it's reduced down to 4. But she only gains the third charge that she can hold onto at M3. So there is kind of like a debate whether you should just leave her at M1 or M3. In my case, I am leaving her at M1 because I want to save my materials to promote other operators. So yeah, so that is my own personal justification, and I haven't really found the need for a third charge currently yet, since I actually don't really actively chase to go like too high for risk on CCs. So yeah, I guess I also should mention CC6 is coming up, which I'm actually thankful for. That is coming up after my exam period. Like it coming out during my exam period. My exam period is only for a week, so it's coming out. I think it's this Thursday or Friday. by then I'll be having my last two papers. My last paper is on next Monday. I'm recording this on the Sunday, the 20th of February, if I'm not, yeah, 20th of February. So yeah, my first paper is tomorrow on the 21st. My last paper is on the 28th. So it's coming out. Yeah, pretty. Let me just go double check. Go check on my other window. When is the CC6 coming? No, man, I'm just checking my Twitter right now. I'm pretty sure they did say in Twitter. Nope, they didn't tell me the exact date. But when is visual ending then? I guess I can just somewhat scale from then. When is visual ending? 27th of February. Oh, so never mind. So yeah, it's the event will start on the day of my last paper, I guess, around there. So yeah, I'll be fine for CC6, I guess. Be just after my exam period. So yeah, and then what? So yeah, so I guess so in my personal feelings and personal case, I feel like M3 won't be necessary unless you're chasing like higher risk for CC, or maybe you want it to be more relaxed, I guess. That's of my effort. Third on skill one can replace like healers in a lot of maps, cause you can hold three charges, so you can like charge up all three like before like in between waves, and then quickly dispense all three charges during the wave to help keep your operator survive, I guess. If you don't have any other healer stuff like that, so that's what I've heard. I'm not exactly sure how prevalent, but yeah, I still not exactly sure, like because I haven't really experienced like M3 yet. But at the same time, also haven't really felt a need to bring her mastery higher than M1 currently, based on what I've experienced myself. And why is my leg cramping up all of a sudden? So I'm sitting down, I guess. Been sitting down for some time already. Oh yeah, my legs are cramping up. Oh, but yeah, I haven't really found need to M3 her, but yeah, I have heard people about like how necessary M3 is for like certain strategies, I guess. So I guess if you want just leave for M1, I guess, unless you really found the need to M3 her. Otherwise don't, because it's really expensive to actually M3 her. 6 bipolar nanoflakes. That is not something that's gonna come by easy at all, right? Trust me. Wow. And then I'll talk about skill 2, where in this big S range, she'll heal all allies for 110% at rank 7, with a downtime of 8 seconds, and she will actually hold onto it. It will not be automatically triggered. It will only trigger whenever there is any allies that needs healing. So yeah, so technically she can hold one charge if you want to look at it that way, I guess. So yeah, at M3, M7, M3, she'll drop it down to 7. But like I said, it's not going to be worth it unless actually, if anything, actually, from what I've heard, this skill is the skill with the least priority to actually to gain mastery on. From what I've heard, not exactly sure how true that is. Because like I said, my friend that is somewhat like a whale. His Saria, not her. His Saria is only is only run 03. So M1 skill 1, M0 skill 2. He left it at rank 7. And then M3 the skill 3, mainly for the extra arts application, but yeah. So this is the skill that is the lowest priority to M3. But from what I've heard, people have M3 here in like Discord, Reddit forums, stuff like that. It has actually come in very handy from time to time because of the the 1 second reduce reduction. Sometimes it does come in clutch, as well as the fact of the extra attack, the extra 30% attack compared to rank 7, which can actually matter a lot, I guess. It's actually how big the range is. Usually, if you have a lot of, which I don't really quite know, to be honest. I don't really quite know like how necessary M3 is. I can't really seem to justify it myself, to be honest. But It's like, I don't know, to be honest, since most of the time, if we only just having a rank 7, I found that most cases or not, she can only heal up by a lot of the already the allies, my other allies' health. Maybe that's because then again, maybe that's also because I don't have a lot of E2s. Most of my E2s are actually range operators. So maybe that's why. If I actually have more E2s ground operators, maybe I'll find the M3 monsters the M3 better and more necessary. I guess so, because range operators usually have lower health. I really don't know. Yeah, I really don't know how necessary. I guess like someone do agree with there is a least party to M3. This has been a devolving tirade. But yeah, I guess it's quite accurate. Yeah, but yeah, it's also very short. Try to am I just tired to be honest? Since I've been studying for some time, I think I'm just tired. But yeah, it's actually a skill that I tend to gravitate towards for general content because of just like just good healing to be honest. It's just good general burst hit, good general AoE healing. That's really all I can really say. If anything, if anything, I actually am using this skill too. Just E1 back then. I haven't really farmed my red tickets anymore since I've gotten quite a good amount of cheap catalysts like stockpile up already. I may decide to do so whenever to grind up for like the new red ticket operators that's coming soon. I think it's in June, July for us. In global, that is only in the end. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll go back and like, try to touch up on it, but yeah, I found there is so yeah, this is a very good AoE healing. Consider AoE healing. Every 8 seconds you come heal up stuff like that, and maybe have other SP batteries stuff like that, like Telopsis, or maybe even Dixam herself. You'll activate more often, but yeah. Otherwise, don't really not necessarily the M3D skill, but it's a very good general skill. And then I'll just talk about skill tree, which is the skill that most people use. It's the skill that people use against bosses and in CC. So yeah, it's again in the range, so heal everyone, while also amplifying us damage as well as decreasing the movement speed of nearby enemies. So yeah, that means anything else. If anything, I'm pretty sure. Actually, not exactly sure how much ice damage application there really is in the game, to be outright honest. Since most allies, most operators just like buff attack, like Scouter, Arc, Warframe, it's like buff attack, and then even for what is it? For Suzerain, it's just damage amplification because of the talent, just fragile. And then Pramanix is just resistance and defense drop. Then Shaman has defense drop. I don't think there's any other arts application like specifically to amplify arts. I guess Skyfire's talent. But that's only when you're blocking stuff like that, which may not always which may not you usually would not want to do so for bosses. Unless maybe there's something like they drop defense when they're blocking or stuff like that. Because usually bots do more damage. So yeah, pretty sure this is like the only good arts damage application that is out there. So yeah, my friend has M3 his Saria skill tree. I haven't. To be honest, I haven't because I'm currently still trying to save up to E2 some other operators. Pretty sure I really don't know, to be honest. I still don't know who I want to E2 next. As I already have the necessary materials to E2 either Calcite or Mudlock already. But I don't know who I want to E2 yet. But yeah, but what was I saying again? Honestly, think I'm just tired, to be honest. But yeah, this actually is a very useful skill, the novel. You should have oh wait, no, it's not up yet. Yeah, I paused my uploads of the Gabriel event for Vigilo currently right now. I'm gonna upload Vigilo before I go back to uploading my Gabriel's EX clears. But yeah, you'll see that I'll use Cyrus skill tree not for the asset application but actually for the slow for the bird. But yeah, yes. What I want to say? Do I honestly don't remember what was I thinking anymore. What I was thinking about, but yeah, a skill tree is actually actually a very good skill. If anything, it is actually the skill that allowed me to bring my embedded mind clear down by a lot, like the operators I needed by a lot. Just remember back then in the original one that I uploaded, my Saria wasn't was the Saria built up? I don't know actually how built was it. I was just skilled to my Saria back then. Pretty sure actually, if you guys can find my original embedded mind clear, but yeah, the damage application is actually very useful. And then the movement slow as well. There's a lot of times you may not want to block the enemy specific since they may do a lot of damage. So yeah, it's actually a very good skill. As I say, and so if you ask me like the priority to get masteries on first, I'll say it will be to M1 skill 1 first, to get the reduced SP cooldown, and then M3 is skill 3. And afterwards, it's kind of up to you about skill 1 skill 2, what you want to do with it, or move on to other operators already. So yeah, all three skills are actually very strong. They just have different use cases. And in case you guys are asking, yes, I prefer this skin over this skin. Do not question it. I don't know why a lot of people like this skin more. But just personally, I just like this skin more. Yeah, whatever, I guess. So yeah, all three skills are actually very strong. So I guess up to you. If anyone asks whether they should build Saria or not, I would say definitely yes. Saria has actually been very useful and helped me out in more cases than I can count. There's a lot of cases where I was like, thank God, like, okay, I can kill W fast enough. What to do? Oh yeah, okay, so I can use Saria to damage application because I stuff like that. Yeah, or sometimes there isn't enough ranged tiles. What to do? Gummy healing is not enough. Okay, let's just bring Saria and Gummy together then. Yeah. First whether you should be Saria or not, I'll say yes, definitely. But I'll personally say that you should E1 Gummy first. Max E1 Gummy first. Because Saria does take a lot of materials to actually E1 and E2 stuff like that. Because end of the day, she is a 6 star. So even just for the rank masteries, she does also take quite a fair amount of materials. So personally, I would say that to get Gummy up first, and in those cases where Gummy may not be enough, then you bring Saria along. So yeah, Saria is actually also a very good operator to actually build up and have. So yeah, Carnelian, I guess I'll move on to, and it's been 30 minutes already. I say this will be a short one. It's a rambling mess, I guess. Well, so yeah, she's a model caster or phalanx caster, I guess. Called. I don't know why I call her module caster. I don't even know where I got the name from. Why I used to call them module casters. But I guess technically the official term is phalanx caster, I guess. So yeah, they will not attack whenever the skill is not active, but instead will gain increased defense and arts resistance. So yeah. And the skills will just basically do AOE true AOE arts damage. The AOE damage in their range. And I guess you should take note that they only gain the increase. They just like the what's it, bards, I guess, or you want to call the aura supporters. They're called bards right now. This is just the bards. They only gain the increased 4,000 range when you E1 them. That's something to think note of, I guess. So yeah, I guess I should just talk about her talent. Kani is actually very strong for anything. Just haven't really found a reason to use her over AI yet, and also because I don't have her, and I tend not to like to bring friend supports, as I'm just playing around on what I need them. But yeah, in most cases I haven't really found a need to use her over AI. So yeah, I guess those skill talents, I guess talents. She'll recover 40% max HP whenever we activate a skill, which is actually good. So, but when charged, which I she mentioned, all her skills can have like a charge effect. After the initial SP that you get after the initial fill up, say like skill 1, after you fill up for 18 seconds, you can overflow it and then let her charge up for another 18 seconds in order to gain the charge effect, which varies from skill to skill. I'll talk about it later, but yeah. So if the skill is charged and it will activate it, she will instead heal 80% health, which they say is very good, to be honest. Let's say you can bring her from the you can bring her to full health on the brink of death. So it's more of like a conscious one compared to Beeswax one. Beeswax talent where she just passive regen, but in most cases or not actually, if you're actually like actively thinking about using the skill, I would say Carnelians will probably be better in most cases or not if you're going to be actively using her to actually activating her skills. But if you are just using like Beeswax to or Carnelian to tank like range damage stuff like that, like the casters or the drones in the is it Walk in the Dust? I think it's the original Dust one. No, Walk in the Dust. Yeah, the drones have Walk in the Dust. Yeah, if it's like that, I guess with just tanking on those drones or like ranged attacks, Beeswax will probably be better. But it's actually, yeah, by the way, the talent is actually a very good talent to have. It helps provide her with some extra survivability as well as some self-sustaining. So yeah. And then her second talent, when her SP is above the limit, increase the SP recovery rate. So if I know when you say by above the limit, it means when she's already have like the skill charge up. Like she already have the 18 seconds charge up already. And just trying to get the extra charge effect. She'll get to the charge effect, which I'm pretty sure is indicated as like a red icon at the top of the operator. It's from the yellow. The second bar will fill up faster because of the talent. Do you get what I mean? I'm not exactly sure whether I'm conveying everything on the conveyor here, to be honest. Yeah, let me go drink some water first and calm myself down, I guess. Okay, let's continue. So yeah, it's actually a very strong talent. Actually, if anything else, let's reduce the what do you want? More stop respond just now. Helps reduce the downtime of a skill, since most often than not you will want to use a charge effect because her charge effects are actually very strong. But yeah, so what else I want to say? I guess think that's more or less about the talents. Both of them are actually very strong, actually very good. There's not like compared to like other operators where the talent is more situational or just meh. Both of them are actually very strong, actually very good on her. So I guess I'll talk about skill one. I guess increase attack and defense. And when using the charge effect, the trait, which is the defense and arts resistance buff, remains active even during skill, which I guess is actually very useful if you're going for like certain in certain stages maybe. But she's actually is receiving a lot of like brunt of a lot of attacks. Like from my friends have said, it was actually very useful against Faust. Cause he was for some reason I don't know why he was like playing around, like I think it was ranged tiles only. The skill one actually came in handy for against Faust. Which I guess is something, I guess. But generally you'll be using other skills. But if you want her to be constantly tanking, even when she's doing damage with skill up, because without the trait, the defense and arch resistance buff, her stats are actually, I'll say, is better than most other range tiles operators. It's still considerably weaker compared to like defenders or like guards. Most guards, the stats, defensive stats wise. So a lot of the time she actually is reliant on her trait to actually like tank and survive hits. So if she's constantly needing to tank or survive those hits, her actually keeping her trait active is actually good. So meaning you can also unlike my Beeswax where I found where I cannot activate her skill or she will die and my entire formation will collapse. At least in terms of her Carnelian, with her skill on, you can actually at least still activate her skill so to allow her to actually still do some damage without compromising the aggroing that she is you're actually relying on her to do so. So yeah, I guess by no means a bad skill, just that it's situational. And in most cases also not, if you're really aggroing stuff like that, I suggest to use fastly deploys. Yeah, in most cases, I found myself just using Braver to like aggro or tank hits. Or if you like special operators to maybe Nightingale, maybe you can use the Nightingale's cages to actually also aggro. So yeah, a very nice skill to actually have. Just keep in mind something that you want to think of. Because like I said, I have personally even myself and even my friend has found some use cases for her. By no means a bad skill, just that if you want damage, which most people want damage, if you want damage for Carnelian, like or utility, the other skills do better. So skill 2. Where you reduce her attack interval, and then the attacks inflict slow. And when it's charged, also further increase attack, and the slow is in fact a bind for extra seconds. So a utility that this skill actually provides is actually very good. So let me just talk about the thing. So for 2 seconds, you reduce it to 1.2 seconds. And if you have maybe a attack speed buff, like from Arc, you can actually permanently bind the enemies from what I've seen. I'm not exactly sure like how high the mastery is needed for like both of them, to be honest. For like, both Carnelian and Arc, but you can, I guess. But either way, I would say it's somewhat like a better skill tool compared to like Mint. I haven't really used Beeswax yet, so I can't really talk much about Beeswax, but I have been using Mint somewhat frequently, because she's actually the only module class I had for a very long time. So the Mint skill tool is basically she's a washing machine, as people like to say. She sucks the enemies into her, which does somewhat count as like a pseudo crowd control. Just that it's very reliant on the weight class of the enemy. But for her, because she just binds them, keeps them in place for her to both for her to do damage as well as maybe for your other operators to do damage. Actually, a lot of bosses can actually be binded. So you can actually keep either bosses or enemies just outside of the like keep them in place so that your operators don't need to block stuff like that. Anything. My friend has been playing a lot with like range tiles only. This skill also has been actually very useful because like I said, you range tiles only you cannot block. But instead you're basically just binding them instead of blocking them. Yeah. It's actually a very good skill. So if I'm not wrong, there's also maybe other enemies that cannot be blocked and they're wraiths. So you actually keeping them bind, this also does help out as well. Even if you don't charge up, you're still at least slowing them down, which is useful I guess, just that it's not as long. But then you can see the bind duration is longer than the slow duration. So yeah, what else I want to say about? So yeah, I actually don't really see a lot. Yeah, my friend has also mentioned that really is a lot reason to use skill 2. Because the damage is just, to be quite honest, just lacking. Like the 50% buff isn't a lot. I mean, my friend has found like the damage is severely lacking with skill 2. That is something I guess you guys should take into consideration. Even though the attack interval is greatly reduced, it's still not enough I guess, to be honest. My friend he just doesn't feel enough. The damage should be anywhere enough. Which I guess I don't know, to be honest. Since so far all my experience with Carnelian has been with skill 3. That's pretty much the only skill that people leave the friend support as, so yeah. So yeah, I really don't really know what else I want to say about skill 2 to us. It's situational I guess. The provides very good utility of binding and slowing, just that the damage is severely lacking. So yeah, I'll just talk about skill 3, which is basically her damage skill. She increased her attack range, the same as Min skill 1 if I'm not wrong. Greatly increasing her skill, her attack is gradually increased. So like Calcit skill 3, where master gradually use attack, He's instead gradually increase attack. I'm pretty sure the attack is resetted at the end of the skill, just that they didn't mention here, but when if you charge up a skill, the attacks also what? Also help to cast like a debuff, where the debuff will cause the enemies when hit they actually deal more to actually receive more damage for Carnelian. But the triggering effect for the debuff is actually her attacking. So it's kind of like a snowballing. So actually that also helps to further snowball the skill tree. So the skill tree is kind of like at first it'll be very weak, but as the skill duration go on, the damage you just the damage constantly just keeps stacking up, both from attack increasing as well as from the debuff stacking up. So yeah, it is actually a very strong skill, especially when you're stacking up with Arc, buffing her both her attack as well as attack interval, because her attack interval is actually quite slow at 2 seconds only. She actually can help to clear up a lot of stuff. But like I said, she's more than mob clearing, I guess. Because if you really want single target, AR Freya will still be stronger. So actually reason why I keep mentioning her with Arc. Because remember Arc still damage stuff like that, but the fact that Carnelian actually has the increased defense before whenever her skill is not up. She can actually tank the hits from Arc and then just activate her skill, even for your attack, remember? Activate the skill, it is ability to up all the damage is taken from Arc, as well as other stuff for that. So yeah, skill tree is actually the damage based skill that would be offered. From what I've heard, damage is somewhat disappointing, according to my friend. It feels like the damage is still not high enough against bosses compared to like AR. So if you really want to kill bosses, I guess you still using more AR more. But he said he does feel a lot more satisfying against like crowds, a huge range of enemies. I guess somewhat so. Because in certain maps, like she can actually solo. I'm pretty sure it's like the what was it? Don't know. I think it's the XP farming stage, fourth one. You can actually like solo it with with Carnelian. I'm pretty sure he used skill 1 though, because of the lowest downtime. Because he was actually the one in the lowest downtime. He actually used skill 1 to actually solo the stage. I'm not sure how true it is. He hasn't shown me any videos yet. That's why he just claims. But I guess it's possible, I guess. But so yeah. So if you want like single target damage, EA will still be better. But if you're dealing with a lot of like a huge crowd of enemies, Carnelian will actually be better because she doesn't have like a max target. She doesn't have like a target cap compared to EA. Where EA does have a target cap of 5 and 6, 5 or 6. 5 at like mastery, like below before mastery, I think at 6 as M3. I'm pretty sure so. So yeah. And then also another thing is for downtime. AI has a very long downtime for a skill tree, whereas Carnelian has actually a relatively short downtime for both her skills. If you're not considering a charge, if you do want to get a charge effect on the skills, you won't say it's actually very long because of a second talent, but it's also considerably like relatively long, around 40-50 seconds still. So yeah, I'm actually a very strong operator, just that in most cases, most maps, there really isn't a need for her. Like other operators can still do like can still do the job that she does, just that it may be like fragmented. So instead of just using one operator to do like the job, you may need multiple operators to replace like the job that she can do. So like AoE, you can use AoE casters, stuff like AoE casters, or just AoE guards, AoE snipers for her AoE damage, and then maybe for her aggro one, maybe use fast sweeper, stuff like that. But yeah, it is a very strong operator, just that it's not necessary for most maps. Like I said, it's also a very good operator. Just keep in the back of your mind, keep like in your back pocket. If you really feel like if you're just lazy or feel like you need to just bring her up and then use her to replace multiple operators. So yeah, a very strong operator. I guess I'll talk about Croissant. So it is actually a defender. I used it for a very long time. Also, I slept on my main team for the longest time, to be honest. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's actually a block, not evade. So is it block or evade? Here it says evade, means to dodge. So but yeah, her talent basically she gives her a set percent chance to actually just dodge or block the any damage. Sadly it doesn't apply to environmental damage like the poison haze from the red ticket farming stage. So but yeah, and they're also giving like the allies within the whole adjacent towns half the effect. So yeah, half the effect to also dodge stuff like that, which is actually usually won't come into the case, to be honest. Yeah, this kind of just kind of a nice to have thing, to be quite honest. Let me bring up my croissant. Ah, you croissant, there you are. Yeah. Yeah, in the in-game it says to resist, but over here it says to evade. As okay, I guess we should talk about the difference. So evade means you outright just don't receive the damage, whereas block you will actually you actually receive the attack, but you won't take any damage, which is actually a very important difference. Because for her, you're much farther for her to actually block the damage because of her skill 2, whereas defensive recovery. So yeah, this is actually blocking, I guess. She will actually just resist or block the damage taken. So yeah, guess it's also a very good, I guess it's a decent talent. Don't rely on it, I guess. But yeah, skill one. The reason why skill is actually the reason why I like Proson about. You may need to play around with like the when you deploy her, but the fact that it's automatic triggered, so it's kind of more AFK friendly. There has been cases where I did need to time like the skill, like by delaying me deploying her, stuff like that. Oh yeah. But here she just gained increased defense as well as the talent effect to 170% of it. So for example, it's 20% right now. It's 170% of 20%. So it's 30-ish%, I guess. Increase it to. I guess so, but I'm not exactly sure how the percentage rate base works, stuff like that, but I mainly use it for the increased defense, which is actually considered quite a good amount. I actually could bring her up to there. Yeah. So yeah, 510 increase 40%, so around bring up to around how much? 700-ish. Actually very high already compared to like Saria. Saria. Yeah, this actually considered very high already. Just that maybe it's not as high for like Kura stuff like that. But in most general case scenario, she's actually more than enough, especially since her attack is actually considered is actually decent as well. Is it higher? Is it higher? I don't know. I don't remember. For some reason, I seem to remember her attack being higher than like other defender operators. Let me just double check, I guess. Is her attack really higher than other defenders? Slightly only. For some reason, no, not really. It's about the same. For some reason, I seem to have like a memory of her attack being higher than usual. No, not really. Why was that the case? I don't really know. But so yeah. Reason why I actually end up using her a lot before I got really like invested in the game was because of the automated activation. So I didn't really have to think about it. And even without her skill, she's actually relatively tanky already by itself. Just on the fact that she's a defender. So yeah, really isn't a lot to talk about skill 1, it's just more like a generic defense buff. But they're also increasing the talent effect, which I guess is nice to have, but generally isn't going to be a case. But anyway, yeah, a very nice skill to have, I guess skill 1 is. And then skill 2, pushing the enemies away with a large force and then stunning them and dealing physical damage. Actually for what it's actually a very strong skill. How do I say? It's both for the fact that push away, so you can how do I say? It's to be honest, I'm actually not exactly sure how much I really like the push effect to be honest. So just to just stun and then do damage. I don't care how much better it will be to be honest. Because there has been cases where the push effect is actually nice, actually good. How do I say? I really don't know, but yeah. Skill 2 is actually very strong. If anything, I don't really mind it being defensive recovery since it actually does somewhat help out in certain cases. But there are certain cases how I prefer it was like natural regen. But either way, it's actually either a very strong skill. Just for damage as well as stunning. Like I said, I mentioned it before, but I have used her to tank. I actually use her to like kill certain bosses. In the fact that I have like Aya and Silverish stuff like that, there really wasn't a lot of bosses that I couldn't one cycle. Like one skill cycle, so actually just her having to stun them, I usually use her to just stun the boss in between, as well as the fact to push the enemies outside of Aya's radar range, so she can just is it? I don't remember, but we can remember just pushing them outside the range so that my operators can focus now on the boss, so that they can actually properly one skill cycle the boss. Think of what I mean? It's the fact that having Saria skill 3 to prevent them from moving back into the range. So yeah, I guess that's something you guys can do as well. So if anything, I actually found skill 2 to be relative to has been useful in certain situations. Just that in most cases or not, Kurora would actually serve a similar job, like compared to Kosan. For if anything, I guess the apps. She has very good apps. If anything, I guess just use her for reasons, I guess. Yep, she has very good apps by the way. Anyway, they're not really well known, but it's just apps. I think that's actually kind of the reason why I should debut her up for the apps. I really don't know. To be honest, it has been over a year already. To be honest, since I started Arknights, and I did start building Croissant up like very early on. So I don't really quite remember why I built Croissant up anymore. To be honest, I think I just pretty sure just like the third defender operator I got. Like fourth because there is Hang, but I didn't end up using Hang. I think she was like the defender operator I got other than after bigger Kurora and Hang. So I think it's kind of just decided to build her up to replace bigger eventually or something like that. I don't really quite remember why, but I don't regret. Neither do I actually regret building her to be honest. She's very strong. Just that, like I said, most cases or not, Kurora can do a good enough job already. I just want to use her skill 2. So yeah, that's more or less about it. Very niche operator, I guess, Kosan is. But in the more specific niche, she is quite good. So yeah, let's move on to Blue Poison. I guess it's Chen's favorite operator as well. And also actually, operator I actually don't mind to be honest. I actually found a lot of use of her. I actually found myself using her a lot of time right now. Because of the multi-target from her skill, just a AFK, just the brain dead multi-target, as well as this good decent damage from skill 1 already. And I should bring up to what I have for her right now. This is what I'm using her as right now. I haven't decided to E2 her yet because sniper warships is a lot. I've already spent quite a lot. I spent most of mine on Chowder already. I haven't bothered grinding up again. So yeah. If anything right now I'm trying to grind up the Vanguard chips, normal chips. The Vanguard chips right now, I'm trying to farm. To promote what was it? To promote Chive as well stuff like that. I got and being stocked I think because I got being stocked to max pot recently. So yeah. Just talking about Blue Poison. I have also mentioned how already in like the tier list. I think was it the operator voucher tier list thing. So yeah, her attacks rule. She's a marksman I guess, but as I like to say, anti-air sniper. So attacks will actually poison the target, where basically they will just receive us damage every second for 3 seconds, and it is increased to 85 at pot 5, which I don't have yet. If anything, she's actually not too hard to actually get potential on. She is a 5 star. It's not the hardest, but yeah. But generally, but this kind of reason why I like her. He just actually just provide like chipping us damage. So because of that, he will actually at least still do some damage against high defense enemies, which I said it still isn't much, but the chip pass damage that the talent does provide can help reduce the amount of attacks needed to kill like the high defense enemies by a couple of hits, one or two hits. Sometimes there's actually more than enough to help your defender to survive. A lot of the high defense enemies actually do have considerable amount of attack as well. With sometimes the extra that the arts damage reducing the amount of damage, the amount of attacks I need to kill the high defense by one or two is more than enough. It's actually like very helpful. So, but yeah, the Berserker attack just allows us to also do somewhat ahead key, at least do damage, do any significant damage against high defense enemies. So yeah, I actually talk about skill 1, which is the skill I tend to use more often than not, because I'm lazy. Where the next attack will attack one additional target and deal 155% physical damage, which compared to an attack, it's actually decent enough by itself. And 430 plus, so we'll be doing around 600 each, which is actually quite a lot for a sniper. Just that it's physical damage, so you know, its defense is kind of like there. Its defense is subjective, so at the same time, she also won't do a lot of damage. From what I can tell, with the even with the skill boosts, we generally basically still doing around 300 each damage. But yeah, what I like about the skill is the consistent uptime. So the fact that she can target one additional target, so you know, she's just gonna spread the poison to more and more enemies. So yeah, it's actually a very good skill. Cause only for the consistent damage. A very strong skill for consistent damage. Masteries aren't exactly really necessary, unless except for the last one, where it's reduced down to 2, as well as further buffing the damage that you do, which is quite by a lot, but yeah. So there really isn't need to M1, M2 her, unless you're trying to go for M3, which she does actually cost a lot, like D32 steel, the tier 5 stuff, and then white horse core. I'm not exactly sure what is it about me. I found myself constantly liking white horse core. I'm not exactly sure why. But yeah, the reason the M1, M2 isn't really significant. M3 is where it is. So unless you try to M3 her, don't bother M1, M2 in her skill 1 is. Okay, so yeah. So I guess I'll talk about skill 2, which is actually severely like an underdog, to be honest. Why it's really more for like a crowd control skill, to be honest. That's why for myself. So if the say it really doesn't matter much, like I'm not fighting against bosses, but instead fighting against crowds. I guess I say again, like I say in the XP ticket farming stage, where there's basically a lot of slugs that I need to take care of. This skill is actually very useful. Because she also constantly target multiple allies all at once, so she can actually thin out all the crowd stuff like that. It's really more for like crowd control skill. It's further amplified by if you actually M1 her, which I haven't, because mine is still E1. But she will also attack the main target a second time as well. Which may not sound much, but you know, it's actually very good, to be honest. So basically she allows her to target down one enemy, but also helping out with the crowd somewhat as well. So yeah, and to be honest, I can't really say much about this skill. To be honest, it's really more for like burst crowd control, because the attack buff isn't as high as compared to skill 1's. Nor is it the damage is the consistent high as skill 1. So still in most cases I would say skill 1 would still be the better skill. But in like if you're trying to clear out crops and stuff like that, or trying to focus on one enemy but also still need to handle like certain enemies that maybe in Origin does. You want to clear I don't know what enemies there may be. At the same time you also need to try to clear out the tumors before they can reach your operators to reduce their attack speed. Skill 2 will actually be very useful there. So yeah. By no means she's by no means bad. If anything, actually one of my favorite entire snipers. Anything right now. I actually tend to like combo the platinum, I guess. Don't know why. I guess maybe it's the design as well. Actually, really do like the design as well. So yeah, I found myself actually liking 2.0 a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, I'm here and considering it doing just because I actually like both of us art as well as how she plays. But that's something else to be discussed, I guess. But so yeah, a very strong operator. Ask me whether you should build her. Yes, I guess. To be honest, maybe no, maybe not higher priority than platinum, I guess. Since if you want me whether I should, if a person asking me whether I should build, if you're not talking about like maybe for by full reasons whether I want to build, I'll say build operators for utility. So platinum has the utility of having extra range compared to blue poison, which is multi target, which certain other operators also have. Okay, wait, no, cruise is double strike. Hers is second target. Vermeil though, yeah, I guess so. And so yeah, this will say if you want to say build her, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so yeah, Vermeil is multi-target as well, so kinda that-ish, I guess. But yeah, I will say, by now, she's actually a very strong corporate. If you want to build her, yes, I'll say build her. Definitely, I'll say you should build her. Because, like I said, she feels very nice to play. She just feels very nice to play with. And yeah, I'll say, to be honest, I really don't know, to be honest. I'm just tired, to be honest. I need to go back, please, I guess, with the last operator already. Akafuya, which I honestly can't really talk much about, to be honest. It's I haven't really used that much at all. So like she's at 34 or no 60 plus 70 plus 70 plus trust right now. I haven't really used that too much. Also because I don't really like MAT guards too much. Because they don't heal up a lot. Nor are they actually quite nor are they too bulky as well either. At E1s. They're not too bulky. And then the damage they do is good I guess, but they're also somewhat lacking. I don't know, to be honest. I feel like I if the more I play with them, actually I have found myself to actually start to like her more and more. But how she can sustain herself. At the same time, there's always a worry about leaking because the damage isn't too high at year one in the block as well. But yeah, I guess the more I build her, the more I play with her. Maybe I like her more and more. But yeah. And then I just started talking about yeah, MET operators cannot be healed by other operators, but still can be healed by like aura supporters or these buds as they're called right now, like Skadi, Sora, stuff like that, as well as certain talents like Angelina's talent, as well as Perfumer talent. She'll still be healed by those. And then the other thing is that she heals whenever she attacks an enemy. So yeah, if I talk about talent right now, where she increase her attack speed based on the amount of HP loss. Where you can stack up to a massive of 100% attack speed, meaning she attack twice as fast, from 1.2 to 0.6, at 30% health. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's also I think what I don't really like about MAT guards, since both her who else next? Utage and then Helga, they both increase attack speed, which I guess is useful. They actually allowing her to heal faster, but based on the amount of HP they have lost, which is yeah. But by no means bad, actually if anything else. But it's still good to have. If you can know how to play around with it, like my friend has mentioned that he can. And she likes MBT guards a lot. They're actually very strong. Bursting down the what is it called? Pompey I think he's called. The Sailor, what's it Sailor? Obsidian Festival. It's called House of New but yeah, Obsidian Festival, the event. They can actually just use he has used Akafuri to burst down Pompey. But yeah, it's actually a nice talent to have, I guess. Just that you need to know how to play around with it. Which actually the talent does actually help out. So skill one, where you reduce her block count to 0 and then increasing attack as well as the fact that each attack she does is dealt twice. Attacks do damage twice. It's actually very useful. For more effort, it's like kind of just like drop her, let her attack or let her receive damage, drop down her health to low, very low, then pocket so that then pocket reducing her block on the zero so that she can no longer take damage from many operators. And that's why increasing the amount of attack that she do. So she actually heal twice. Each attack will actually heal her twice the amount. So from 70 to 140. Because that allows you to heal up fast as well. It's kind of like have her drop her HP down, pocket, attack, bring her HP down, skill ends, do it all, and then her receive damage. And low health, proc, Q, deal high damage, Q all the enemies, and then as well heal herself back up to full. It's just kind of like that. It's kind of how I guess you're intended to use it. That's at least how I tend to use the skill 1, apparently. It's based on what I've experienced, that's how I tend to use the skill 1. Not actually sure. It's actually a very nice skill to have, especially if you're still not familiar with MET guards and still try to learn like how her talent skill stuff like that, and how fast the healing is, because she actually does have quite high health compared to the amount of healing that she will actually receive from a hit. So it's actually a very nice introductory skill to Akafuyu's skill set. Akafuyu's like build, I guess, if you want to ask me. It's actually a very good introductory skill. And then I guess I'll talk about skill 2, where she immediately loses 50% of her current health and gain a layer of shield, which is actually the same as Blood Rock, where the shield will absorb and block any one instance of damage, which also does include environmental damage, so like poison stuff like that. So take note of that. But yeah, it will absorb one hit, which is actually useful because shield dropping in health to 50%. So if you're against like bosses, proc lose health to increase her attack speed, then have the shield to survive one hit. Then using the attack speed that she gained from losing health to quickly attack bring the boss health down, and then recover health. So by the time that next time the boss attack, she has enough health to survive the hit. But also at the same time the hit also bring her down to low. She will gain the increased attack speed, and then like rinse and repeat like that. So the shield just kind of help you to get into like the setup, I guess, per se. But basically Akafu is really more for like the skill 2 is really more for like boss killing, I guess I'll say that. It really isn't good for crowds because like I say, it really doesn't, I guess unless you're one-shotting them, but you're kind of wasting the shield, I guess, but I guess the shield is also still kind of nice. I don't know what to say to be honest, but because I really haven't played too much with Akafuyu, I know how I tend to use her as, so I know how my friends play them as, but at the same time I don't really play with MET guards too often even, or MET operators. I don't really play with La Pluma, Mudrock, and then Akafuyu. I don't really play with them all too much. And then even Utage, I just tend to use it as a heady ass drop, heady ass damage drop. So I haven't used Utage for them. Yes, then Utage plays kind of differently, but yeah. This is kind of that, I guess, to be honest, but I really don't think Akafuyu is actually a bad operator. I just believe the reason why I don't have much to say about Akafuyu is just kind of my lack of experience with MET operators in general. So I really don't think Akafuyu is bad. I'm pretty sure she'll be very, very strong in the right hands. Just that you need to learn how to play with play with her. So yeah, I think that's really more or less about it, I guess. If you ask me whether you should pull on the banner, I'll say yes, to be honest, since both 6 stars are actually very strong, and all 5 stars are actually very strong. So if you ask me whether you should pull, I'll say yes, I guess, but I won't be pulling on it personally, since I'm trying to save up for Nerd Altar currently right now. So yeah, if I want to pull, if you decide to pull on it, I can't say much about it to be honest. So just go ahead. If you do pull, I guess, if you want to, you can tell me your results, I guess, in the comments, I guess, if you want to. Yeah, so I think that's really more or less about it. Yeah, so yeah, all operators are actually very strong. So yeah, bye bye. It's been an hour already. Yeah. I'm not good at edit this. I still haven't figured out to edit. Not that I have the time to. Yeah. So yeah, this has been Dogcesy. Bye bye.